Congratulations to any of our Bolte Award winners who are in the room. If you want a Bolte, raise your hand. I see Devin. There, excellent. Congratulations, everybody. So we're here to talk about mapping the student journey. I'm Eric Range. You guys have all met me this morning, VP of Product here at Element 451. I'm joined by Megan.
Hi, I'm Megan, Senior Engagement Analyst. I started on the customer success team, right in live support with some of you guys, joined implementation, and now I'm on the product team helping with data and insights and working with Eric.
Yeah, so we have a great product team, lots of people with experience both in ed tech, but also importantly, folks like Megan and others that have campus-based experience. So what is Journeys? And one of the things that I've noticed is we keep naming our modules with S's at the end. So Grammarly does not like what is Journeys, doesn't like what is tasks, but what is Journeys? So Journeys is a new way for us to be able to visualize student interactions and track those interactions through a series or through sequences, right? So of course, we already have this concept with milestones and our funnels, but we work with institutions of all shapes and sizes, right? From open enrollment institutions, workforce development folks, four-year institutions, selective colleges, all these types of things. That funnel does not one-size-fits-all the enrollment process, and it also doesn't one-size-fits-all all the other things and the ways that students interact with us. And not all interactions are equal or part of the same process. So this morning we talked a little bit about the why we do things and the challenges faced. So putting Journeys into context here, right? Our students do interact with us in a lot of different ways, whether that's through an admissions and enrollment process, maybe an admissions interview process, just paying their bills, submitting FAFSA, applying for financial aid, right? And all of those things are separate processes that don't all necessarily, they all relate to the student, but they don't always necessarily directly relate to each other. But more importantly, students expect us to know how those interactions are taking place, right? So if I work in an admissions office, it may not be necessarily my responsibility to understand, have they filed a FAFSA, are they in verification, you know, is there other follow-up on financial aid? But that student fully expects their admissions representative or someone else who's helping them to be able to have insights to at least see what's happening. So this is another way that Journeys comes into play. And for all of us, right, those staff resources, we have fewer resources than ever in higher education. So how can we better visualize to get that information quickly and assist the students? And we need to know which of those activities are related to each other, right? So we'll look at some examples in a little bit, but we want to make sure that action 1 that's followed by action 2, are those actually part of the same journey, part of the same business process? Or is action 1 totally separate and apart from action 2? And lastly, of course, we're always coming up with good reasons to use data and being able to holistically understand what's happening with that student. So being able to break these activities apart into meaningful connections is really, really important. So you can use Journeys in a couple of ways. We can track those custom funnels or other business processes. We'll look at diving deeper into the Element delivered funnels and milestones, right? So Megan will walk us through kind of the delivered funnel and what we talk about exploding that out. What are those hidden steps that are real steps to the students, real things that they have to do, but maybe aren't part of that milestone system? Capture progress through cross-functional business processes, and gain understanding of conversion rates, and most importantly, be able to identify where students are getting stuck, right? Used to work in enrollment management, and getting a student from deposited to a butt in the seat and all those steps that they had to take, submit their health forms and submit this and submit that. You know, where are they falling off? Where's the challenges?
All right, so I feel like we always have to show this at some point in the conference, so I volunteered as tribute. So this is the funnel that we're all used to reporting on at the end of every year. It's just a number, it's a head count, and it's just something that is simple and basic. But what if you are tasked with the question, where or why are they not advancing? Where are they falling off? What is happening in between? Because when you see that you have so many applicants but only a few admits, what are you supposed to do with that information? So at Journeys, we kind of had this concept of track every little in-between step so you can see, okay, 200 were here, then it went to 190, then it went to 70. What was that little challenge for the student to help you in the future change your process? So if we go one layer in, we know that in order for a student to advance to the next funnel stage, it's dependent on certain things happening. You need your deposited students to attend orientation before they become enrolled. But we know that this can go even further. So in order for them to attend orientation, we know that they have to first register for the event, meet with an advisor, sign up for certain activities, pay that deposit. So with Journeys, we wanted to make sure we covered all the different modules and element, be able to see, okay, even though we have a deposit to enroll, we can go all the way down to, did they open that email that's inviting them to orientation? So this is a funnel, but going to the next slide. With Journeys, like we've been talking about, we connected the entire Element platform. So with workflows, we have the opportunity to have students enter, have a few actions happen, and then they leave. With Journeys, we're able to see what they're doing, like viewing a page, clicking an email link, and then connect that to a successful, they have completed this custom milestone step. Something cool is it's way beyond the funnel. You can go even further down on the little funnel diagram and say that, you know, we really want to track our marketing efforts for this event that's upcoming on campus. And with that marketing effort in our journey, we can look at, did they open the email I sent? Did they click that link I sent? Did they go on the landing page I created for this event? And so each of those can be an individual journey step that can get marked completed. And you can see where are they falling out before they register for this event that you're trying to push to see, was my marketing effort successful or not?
Now, one of the things before we jump into some examples is these are all native Element activities, right? So these are all the things that show up in the activity stream. If you're on the profile card, right, you've got the activity stream. So if they are booking an appointment or they attended an event, these are all things that we can use to move someone forward in a journey. But of course, some of the examples we've been giving are things that may not happen in Element. Element doesn't do it all yet, but you know, we've got housing, you know, you might use Adirondack for housing, you might use Pyramid for health services, right? But anybody come to the integrations talk yesterday? Right? So one of the things you can do that's really powerful with Journeys is you can ingest some of those signals from those other platforms that are the systems of record and ingest those as custom activity types and then use those to move an Element journey around. And of course, you can mix and match them depending on what you want. So if you're doing orientation registrations in events, that's a native Element. If you're having them submit health forms in something like Pyramid, you could integrate and import that data into a custom activity.
All right, so we're not all talk, we're going to go into what this actually looks like in Element. I want to give you some background on this example that I'm going to be showing you guys. I decided to choose a competitive scholarship because I didn't want to give you the cheesy, easy funnel. So with this competitive scholarship, we're going to put our little scholarship hat on. It is a scholarship we're offering for admitted students that have a GPA of 27, or ACT of 27, GPA of 3.5 or higher, and then in order for them to achieve this presidential scholarship, there are certain things that need to happen, like making sure they're qualified, attending an event, going through an interview round, and then getting that final kind of stamp of approval of they get this scholarship. So let's hop on in. Sorry, thank you. All right, so this is the journeys page with all of the journeys that you have created and their status. Hopping to this President Scholarship one. This was the screen grab I showed. So something great about Journeys is right on that opening page, you get to see the actual counts and then how they are progressing with conversion rates. So we can see with this example, that initial scholarship invite, we had 4 students total in that step, but who got that invite? 3 out of the 4. And then it goes further down until our end goal of receiving that President Scholarship Award. Inside the journey, you do have some basic settings, but part of, thank you.
There we go.
So after the initial settings, part of the setup is deciding who gets to enter this journey, because it would be really fun and confusing if we dumped your entire people population of Element into this journey and seeing like a 0.1 conversion rate for your first step. So the journey trigger is who's this population that we want to track for the specific step. And so as I was explaining in the background of this competitive scholarship, it's the admitted students. So anyone who has an application that is admitted, they're going to enter this journey. Further down, we go into those steps that have the bar chart on that first visualization. And what's great about Journeys is it doesn't have to be in a specific order. You have the ability to group certain steps, and it doesn't matter what order the student completes those steps in. As long as they complete both, they're going to advance. You can also do one, not all of the steps in these groupings. So yes, it's great to make sure they do 1, 2, 3, 4, but maybe there's 1, 2A or 2B before they move on to the next step.
And just a clarification on that, the way this works under the hood is when someone comes into a journey and they're on that first step, right, that initial scholarship invite, and they complete that, the next thing that Element is listening for is the next possible event. So in this case, we've got a group and we're looking for what are the next activities that they should be doing? Well, in this case, it's either of these two things. So we're listening for that event to happen, right? But it is important that these happen sequentially, right? So journeys are sequences. So you can select it to be all of these things and we'll listen, but that group, we won't start listening for the submitted president application until both of those things in the group are done. Now you can also set the group to be, they have to do one of these things, right? So you could have 3 possible things and we listen for all 3. Once one is done, then they can move on and we'd start listening for the application step.
All right, so I'm just gonna hop into one step and also give a plug to my workshop tomorrow. I will be covering journeys again and how to brainstorm before stepping into this and building it out, and also go into a deeper dive of these steps. So if you like what you see, come to the workshop tomorrow with me and we'll go into it a little bit further. So in this initial scholarship invite, which is that first step, On top of the student being admitted, I mentioned that they need to have a certain GPA and ACT requirement. So in order for them to even be invited to this scholarship, I have this admitted condition and also this segment that goes into they have to have this ACT of 27, they have to have a GPA of 3.75. So you're able to layer the different parts of Element into journeys, pull from other areas to have them advance through their journey. So on top of just tracking, okay, they did this, they're completed, you can also trickle in actions. So as soon as someone becomes acceptable to get invited, let's set up a task that signs up the student, set up a task for a enrollment officer to meet with that student, invite them to apply for the scholarship, add a label to their profile, and then enroll them in a workflow that gives them post-scholarship awarded students their experience at the school. So you can do multiple things as this action is getting completed.
So one of the things on actions, and when we were developing this, we had some real challenges because one of the actions can be trigger a workflow, right? So Journeys is kind of like the activity stream in workflows got together and had a baby, except Journeys can't do everything that dad workflows can do, right? So you can create this task, you can maybe send an email, but it doesn't have the power of delays, for instance. You can do a minor delay, like if you wanted to wait an hour or something like this, but you don't have those extra conditional checks that you have in workflows. So you want to be mindful that you don't like, hey, the action is send this email a week from now, right? Because that's just going to go a week from now, whether the student has withdrawn, whether they've moved on to the journey beyond, right? So these are more immediate things that you want to trigger and you want to happen right away.
And then the last part of Journeys is that exit trigger. And you want to think about what is going to disqualify this person from advancing. So in this situation, it might be that their scholarship application gets withdrawn or declined, or they get a label added, so they aren't able to advance any further in the journey. And like I said, I'm going to go into this more tomorrow, so join me if you're interested.
So we'll show just one more quick example, and we're already coming up on time. But there's, see if I can do this way zoomed in here. So, but this isn't just admissions, right? It's not just admissions. It's not just, there are other pieces that you can do here. So let me take a look at this idea of the student re-enrollment journey, right? Because we have to bring our students back every term, right? We got to get them through the process for that. So here's a journey where I've said, hey, when we have a student who schedules an appointment, and here we've added some filters, right? So an appointment, that's an advising category in the advising office hours, right? That's going to start this student on the journey. We're then going to listen for them to actually attend that appointment. So when you mark that appointment attended, then we're going to create a task. That appointment or that appointment attended has that action attached to it. Oh, I guess I didn't save that. Should have an action attached to it where we're creating that task to be done, right? Now we're waiting for the advisor or someone to complete that task, and that task in this case is approving that student's schedule. And then from there, we're then triggering other workflows and other actions to communicate with the student. Hey, you've been approved, you can go register. And then we're looking for this post-approval group, we're looking at a survey we've sent them and have they enrolled in a course. So again, beyond the admissions funnel to more student success thing, but where we really see this being really powerful is this idea of bringing in those custom activities as well from all of those other sources that you're working with. So that's a little bit more about journeys and the ways we think about journeys. We have about 1 minute for a question or two. Megan's got the other mic, so if there's a couple of quick questions, we can. I haven't heard applause next door yet, so the rest of my team is on the other side of the door, so they had to compete with the boss. So, good. Yeah.
Yeah, so the question was, with the scholarship example, there was the 4 students and then the 3 students. So that 4 students is that initial trigger of admitted. So that tells me I had 4 admitted students, but in order for that first step to get completed, they needed to qualify for that scholarship, which was having the ACT and the GPA. So that tells me that out of the 4, only 3 met that scholarship requirement.
One other question?
Yeah, is it possible to automate like a weekly report or a monthly report? So take a snapshot of the journey just for aggregate numbers purposes, like this, X in all these steps, numbers here, and easily shareable to like higher level leadership.
Yeah, we are working on kind of the additional insights dashboard around journeys. So that'll be coming. Right now, we've just got that kind of basic information view. One of the things that we like to do before we build the insights dashboards is kind of see how you all are using it to make sure that we've got all of the layers in the dashboard and understand the universe of the data that we have available to us.
So your homework is to make journeys and put students in them. So then I can make a dashboard for it.
One more question if we have it.
So is this journeys module only something that admissions people can see, or is this something that the students can see? Like, if, for example, we're using the application feature, they are admitted, and we have a journey where these are the tasks you have to complete after?
So it's only an internal product. The student won't see that, oh, I'm halfway through this journey. It's just something for your team to track. How are they progressing through?
All right, thank you.